Danny Wallace and I am the Queen Bee. I grew up on the council estates of Preston and I was furious when I found out that the Queen was born the Queen. So I set about creating the I am the Queen Bee movement to help more people show up wiser and riser and reclaim their birthright to success. There's this quote that goes, aerodynamically bees should not be able to fly, their little wings shouldn't get their fat little bodies off the ground, and bees don't care what humans think is impossible, bees fly anyway. And so I wanted to create a space and community where we could do what bees do when they're building something new and festoon and link arms and help each other.
I need to get to know this woman. I need it in my life.
Who is this woman? I need a piece of that.
As a survivor of domestic abuse and homelessness and clawing my way back up from rock bottom, I wanted to be able to put my hand behind me and say, come with me. You don't have to struggle.
I had a dream of something that I wanted to do, and Danny, she got me there.
Georgia Smith!
How the bloody hell did I get here?
Often as business owners, we hide behind our businesses. But as the saying goes, closed mouths don't get fed. If you're not speaking about your business, who's going to know about it? If you're not speaking about your mission and how you can help people, how are you going to help the people you want to help?
I just made a wish come true.
A speaking coach is somebody who's going to be the hands at your back.
Well, Danny made a wish come true. She helped me get there.
I'm buzzing.
It's life-changing.
What an amazing journey.
Oh my goodness me, I loved it. Oh, I loved it.
We actively encourage people to be themselves because that's the most magnetic thing about you. What people gain when they participate and be inspired is that spark of belief in themselves that creates a furnace, that creates a bonfire, that creates an inferno.
Wow.
It has been the blue shot of life-changing.
It doesn't stop there. The community creates bonds and friendships that are absolutely forged for life. It really does become so much more than speaking.
How you feeling?
It felt like I'd picked up this really enormous thing.
That was awesome.
Epic. Phenomenal. It was a bit more intense than I thought it was going to be. Exhilarating. Went fast. It felt amazing. Exhausted.
Thinking at all about wanting to stand on a stage yourself or running a workshop, get in touch with Danny, you will not regret it.
You want somebody like that in your corner.
It was brilliant. The atmosphere was set, the stage was set, and it was smashing.
The Be Inspired Mastermind is for anybody who is ready to take the leap to the next step in their business. You can get in touch with me by following me across the socials at the Queen Bee Danny, or you can head on to my website where you can learn more about the incredible things that you do as part of IATQB. It's www.iamthequeenbee.co.uk. That's peace. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show, Rise Up Show with me, your host, Danny Wallace. Why is it when I do these that this errant piece of hair decides to just stand to attention? I think it's because it's excited to see you all. But hello, you lot. How are you doing? Of course, Wallace is brushing his teeth out there. So apologies if you can hear him brushing away. That's what he's doing. I hope you are feeling good this Friday. How are you? Let me know in the comments. This week has been incredible. Absolutely incredible. If you've been in the IATQB Hive since Monday and Tuesday, you will be more than aware that we've been running the BEE Heard Bootcamp, where I've been doing training and setting tasks for the members of the IATQB Hive, which is my free community, to get visible and get speaking about their business. So as many of you know, I am a public speaking coach. Sounds wanky, this. I'm an international celebrity public speaking coach, which means that I work with people all over the world to help them uncover their superpower hidden in plain sight, their voice, to share their business and mission message so they can reach more people and make more money. I mean, it's so much more than that once we get down into the nitty-gritty of it all. But essentially, that's what it is that I do. And this week has been one of my favorite weeks. Twice a year, I run a boot camp or challenge whereby I help as many people as I can for free to get visible, to stop hiding, come out from the shadows of the busyness of their business, and to start to think about utilizing their voice as a real and visceral marketing channel for their business, whether that's networking, whether that's live streaming, pre-recorded videos, or indeed taking to the stage. So it has been brilliant. Let me know in the comments if you have been taking part. Emma fucking Roscoe. So bootcamp has been epic. We've switched things up a little bit this time. Here I am. I'm a couple of minutes late. My apologies. I'm still in bed, awake from 3:30 to 6 o'clock, and mad dreams about speaking on stage. Emma Mella, I see you. And this is somebody who did not want to do any of this at the beginning of the week and has smashed it this week. Really stood in front this week. Oh my God, I was just thinking about how excited I was waiting for the show reel. Now I'm excited for the new one. Tonight is going to be amazing. Speaking of tonight, at 7:30 p.m. this evening. Happy Good Friday, by the way, everybody, to anybody who celebrates Good Friday. We are going to make Good Friday Great Friday. See what I did there? At 7:30 p.m. tonight on the Queen Bee Danny page on Facebook, on my personal profile, Danny Wallace, and also through into the IATQB Hive and beyond. I am going to be sharing with you a relatively new masterclass. I've only run this free masterclass once before. It's not going to be on Zoom. It's going to be on StreamYard. I'm just going to be sharing it. All you need to do is get onto your social media. You don't have to sign up for it. You don't have to do anything except for have your phone in your hand or your laptop or whatever it is that you want to listen in on. And I'm going to share with you my top 10 tips for having the X factor when you are sharing your business or your mission. So when you are speaking, how to have the X factor, how to stand out. So this week has been very much about the getting it done side of things. But what about when we're getting it done? How do we stand out? Tonight, I'm going to be sharing with you exactly how to do that, which I'm very, very, very excited about. When things like internet online challenges take place, there's normally lots and lots of people that sign up right at the very beginning. This has been the biggest sign up we've had for a challenge or bootcamp that we've run at IATQB. We've had hundreds of people sign up. Now, what happens is loads and loads of people sign up, loads and loads of people tune into day one, and then people start to fall away. Now, from a statistical point of view, only 20% of people who sign up actually complete. And we have a brilliant completion percentage. So we have a little bit more than 20% completed. But I want to know, if you're watching along this morning, who is in my 20%? Who's been taking part in bootcamp? Have you had a good time? And who is in my 20%? Who has completed or has yet to complete, but is going to, all 3 tasks? Let me know. Beth Thompson is in the 20%. I see you. Oh, Good Friday. I thought it was Thursday. No, it's Good Friday. We're heading on into the long weekend that is the Easter weekend, sliding into its DMs, telling it looks sexy. Carla Wiggins, it's been frigging scary. So proud of myself for being a 20%. I'm proud of you for being a 20% there. Claire Wooderson loved it, was so nervous, feel like I'm bossing it. That's because you are. Kat Lindsley Wood, I've loved it, and it's pushed me to do things I usually hide away from. So thank you. Yeah, I love it. Alexandra Soam, good morning, you. She's tuning in from the road this morning, having a little listen in. Sophie Raggers loved bootcamp. Amy Blaney's a 20%er. Of course you are. Helen Louise Adams has loved it. We've had some brilliant help in the Hive this week. So I want to give a huge shout out to the gorgeous Zoe Bryn for helping us. Kirsten Marshall, 20%. I haven't done the live yet, but I plan to. You've got till 7 p.m. This evening. And we've also had the gorgeous Danielle Hansen helping in the background, while our beautiful Anna Fox has had a much deserved week off this week. She's been spending time with her kids this week, which is much deserved. She's not had a holiday in 3 years. Oh my goodness me. So she's been enjoying herself this week, and we've had some beautiful hands on deck. Huge shout out to the gorgeous Kathy Byam as well, helping us over on LinkedIn and helping us with some strategy bits and pieces this week, and also Micah Favorito from Faith Socials, who's been looking after us over on Instagram. So there's been a huge team effort this week to help and get everybody over the line, to help make sure everybody's looked after, everybody's got access to everything. So huge shout out to the whole team this week who've been absolutely wonderful. The week is far from over. So this evening, 7:30 p.m., you're going to be able to catch me live sharing my 10 things to help give you the X factor when it comes to speaking about your business. But not only that, I'm a little bit more than excited about this tonight. And it's not just because I'm going to share with you some real gold, some gold that a lot of people don't share because they want to keep the good stuff to themselves when it comes to how to really stand out. But this evening, I'm going to be sharing with you the world premiere of the brand new IATQB show reel, the new video clip that's going to live on the website, that's going to be a part of the start of the show when we're running up to stuff like Be Inspired, for example. It's amazing. It made me do a little cry. It made me very, very proud of us. But I'm going to be showcasing that this evening. I know loads of you are very, very excited about seeing that. And also, if you were in the audience at Be Inspired just a couple of weeks ago, you might even be able to see yourself on the screen this evening as well. So please do tune in at 7:30 this evening to come and see, even if it's just come and see the premiere of that. I'm also going to be announcing the winners of our competition. So there's been a competition that I've been running all week with some fantastic prizes, all the way from online tickets to Be Inspired, which is on the 29th and 30th of September this year, all the way through to a VIP strategy day with me that could take place anywhere in the world. So the last one, so the glorious Jane Wood won the last one. We actually flew her out to Barcelona, where I was at the time, and we did our strategy day over there. We wined and dined. We went and ate at Michelin star restaurants. We did strategy. It was amazing. But that's the top prize for our winner. I want to know in the audience, if you've been a part of bootcamp, who's on for them prizes tonight. Even if you haven't been part of the bootcamp, fret not, you can still win some pretty cool prizes. We've got some IATQB merch up for grabs tonight. So please do tune in to be in with a chance of winning. We've got everything from Chufty badges to books to IATQB merch. It is pretty amazing. So wherever I am in the world, where we book your strategy day in, we will fly you to. So whether I'm in Prague or Amsterdam, or whether I'm in Malta, or wherever I am in the world, we will fly you out and we will do all of your visibility strategy and work on the nuts and bolts of your business. So very, very excited. I won last year and loved it. Wish you all the luck. It's been a great journey since winning. Met some amazing people. Love you, Danny. I love you too. I think that's Jane. I hope that's Jane. Me live coming up to finish off on the challenge. Yes. Catching up this weekend on the challenges. It's been a mad week in the run up to Easter, but now all my clients are on holiday. You can bid them on holiday. You can do a little bit of personal development while you're having a relax as well. Don't worry if you have not been a part of bootcamp and you still want to do some of that training. That training is going to stay up in the IATQB Hive for a couple of weeks. So if you have been sort of watching what's been going on and thinking, I just can't kind of get to it, but I've got maybe a week off next week or over the weekend, please do go in and check in with that training, because all of the training that I've shared with you will 100% help you become more visible, reach more people, and make more money within your business. I promise. If you do the things that I've shared in the training consistently, and all the training in there is free, and that is in the IATQB Hive. It stands for I Am the Queen Bee. It's our Janie, Coach Jane in the house. So yeah, there are some brilliant prizes on offer, and if you've taken part in the tasks and you've adhered to everything, then you are in with it. We have more than 20% finishing, which I'm just absolutely thrilled about. So this morning is Friday. It is Good Friday. We're making it a great Friday. Get a double dose of Danny today, right now, and then of course at 7:30 this evening. But we're going to make Good Friday great. I promised that I would share a little bit extra in terms of sort of speaking tips and tricks. And this week we've been focusing on understanding what our fears are around visibility, working through those. We've been looking at different methods of delivery over on social media. So for example, sub 60-second pre-records that you can cross-pollinate across different social media platforms. We've been looking at live streaming together. We've been looking at structures from which to deviate. Which is one of my favorite phrases to use when it comes to learning about how to structure your speaking content, because I find that people fall into two camps. Either no structure at all leaves them feeling really overwhelmed and almost suffocated by the enormity of what it is that they could create, and then too much structure, which again creates overwhelm and suffocation when it comes to sort of being bound. So allowing ourselves to learn these structures from which to deviate allows for creativity and free flowing around these structures. I have my first gig now since doing the course last year. Yes, amazing. It's been brilliant seeing the people that have done the challenge or Be Heard or Be Inspired, which are the two programs. Be Heard is the course program that I run, and also Be Inspired is the mastermind that I run that culminates in Be Inspired, the event. So they're the two programs that I run for speaking. The doors open to those programs tonight. But what has been amazing is to see people going through those programs, going on to host their own shows, get featured in PR, radio, regular radio slots. They've gone on to do TED Talks. Multiple people have gone on to do TED Talks off of the back of Be Inspired. So proud. People have been creating their own events, likes of Louisa Herridge has been creating people have been creating their own events, creating their own table. And becoming a speaker isn't just necessarily about taking to the stage. It's allowing yourself to articulate what it is that you do really well and consistently so that you can reach more people. That's the point of it. And one of the ways to do that is to utilize platforms such as this. So this is the Show Up, Wise Up, Rise Up show, right? And the original format for the show was that I would put my makeup on in the morning. You can see that I'm quite fresh-faced this morning. I haven't been very well the last 24 hours. So I'm going to give my face a little break from the makeup this morning. I'm feeling fresh-faced and beautiful anyway. And, you know, I'm an advocate that you don't need makeup to look beautiful. I just enjoy putting it on my face. What was I saying? I was saying about... Someone remind me. What was I just saying before I was talking about makeup and being distracted by my fresh-facedness? Platforms such as this. So the original format for the Show Up, Wise Up, Rise Up show was that I would put my makeup on in the morning. This was at the beginning of lockdown, by the way. Right at the beginning of lockdown, there was a real risk that I was just going to sleep in and sleep in and sleep in. That was all going to get later. We were going to throw out a routine. I was going to struggle to show up to work, all of that sort of stuff. Right, what do I need to do? I need to show up for something. I need to show up for something. I know what I need to show up. I need to show up for my community. If I get up early enough and show up for my community, then I'm going to get ready for the work day. And then once I've done that, if I do that early enough, then I can kind of move on to the kids. So let the kids lie in, wake up with my community, put my face on, get ready for the day. And then sort of the day can then sort of snowball from there, right? So at 8 a.m. every morning for the whole of the first lockdown, I got up 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, put on my face, ready for the day, and started to talk about what was going on. So what was happening in the world, how we were feeling, if people were feeling scared, then providing them a place to feel safe, allowing them a place to sort of feel out what their plans were. And after a couple of weeks of me doing that, I realized that that was going to get quite boring quite quickly. So I wanted to, yes, put my face on and get ready for the day, but also interview people from the community and also from the wider business community about what they were feeling, what their thoughts were, what their businesses were, and utilize it as this brilliant networking platform. So 5 days a week, we moved it to 9:30 a little bit later on, but 5 days a week, I would interview somebody different every single day of the week. I would interview them. I would talk to them about showing up, wising up and rising up. What was a pivotal point for them? What made them get into business, for example? What are their top tips from the industry that they would share with people that were listening along? And it was really great resource throughout lockdown for people to kind of come together. Now, we've been running the show for a couple of years. I say we. Me. I've been running the show for a couple of years, and I love it. It's like I say, it's a reason for me to get out of bed in the morning. But what I found was because there was so much that I was working on, and even to this day, it remains the same. So I'm working on IATQB. I'm always working on an event. I'm working on speaking in general for myself. I'm learning and being consistent. We have the Fly Anyway Foundation, which is a massive project in and of itself. People say to me a lot, you know, Danny, you're really busy. Yeah, you're right. I am. So the 5 days a week running that as a show consistently was really difficult. And one of the things that I found is that one of my core values is allowing for or creating platforms for people from diverse backgrounds consistently. And what was really difficult was because we didn't have a member of the team working solely on recruiting people to interview for the show, that we weren't getting a very diverse lineup. And that was really falling out of alignment with me. is that I wanted members of the Black community, members of the Asian community, South Asian community. I wanted members of the LGBTQ community to come through, as well as a kind of wider standard audience for me, because like attracts like. And at the time, my audience wasn't as diverse as what it could be or should be. I was attracting a lot of kind of straight white women, which is brilliant. Like, I love that. And I am one. Well, not straight, but you know what I mean? So, what I was finding difficult was because I couldn't get to allowing for diversity of lineup, which is what is absolutely necessary. It is necessary. Then I was like, right, okay, so I'm going to lower the amount of shows that I do, have one day of the week that's going to be interview, and then either side is going to be about the community. So we've moved it to 3 days a week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. On a Monday, we show up, right? We set up for the week. We set our intentions. On a Wednesday, it's Wise Up Wednesday. And that is going to really, you'll see this year, that's going to really start to snowball, where we're curating the interviews that I do. And then on a Friday, it's Rise Up Friday. So we have, which is, for more ways than one, it's the Easter weekend. But Rise Up Friday is about celebrating everything that we've achieved in the week, either incrementally or the big achievements. So this week, I'm celebrating the huge achievement of bringing hundreds of people through the BEE Heard Bootcamp and getting them more visible about their business. Huge wins from this week. So people have gained contracts this week from allowing themselves to become more visible. People have done more business this week, have made actual sales this week. People have met collaborators this week. People have made friends this week that they didn't have before. And I know that as people sort of hang out this evening and over the course of the next few weeks in the Hive, that will only grow. So it's been a real week of success for our community. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about this morning is interviewing and being interviewed. So when you are a speaker or you want to be a speaker, one of the great ways to do this is to be interviewed by people. To have a look at podcasts or platforms such as this, or to have a look at things like expos, for example, or summits that people do. And the rise of the online summit has really grown off the back of the pandemic. So there's a couple of things that you need to consider if you are an interviewee and if you are an interviewer. So let me go to interviewer first. And speaking to what I was just speaking about in terms of diversity, it is absolutely necessary. All right. And I'll get my ranty pants on about this and I'll stand on my soapbox about this. It is absolutely necessary that if you have decided to create something whereby you're the conduit, you're positioning yourself as expert by allowing for alliances and being the interviewer, which kind of helps raise your position as expert. PS, it's a really great way to do it. If you don't have the establishment already, by allowing and attracting experts to you, you are seen as expert by proxy. That you need to consider diversity in your lineups without negotiation with yourself either, even if you have to be uncomfortable in the first instance. So I did the Big Festoon, which was a charitable chatathon that I did in June 2020. So at the beginning of lockdown, every week for the first 7 weeks, incrementally, reports of domestic abuse went up 100% per week for the first 8 weeks, and then carried on climbing incrementally throughout. As I caught wind of that, having been someone who experiences domestic abuse myself, I was like, right, what can I do? How can I utilize the skills that I've got to help, right? I'm sat here, I'm making my money, I've done a big launch, team are happy, I'm happy, family's safe, all of this. What can I do to help? So I did a chatathon, and I really carefully curated a diverse lineup as I could possibly get my hands on in a week. So bear in mind, from fruition to creation, we did this in about 9 days. So I sent out 58 individualized, personalized video clips to people who I wanted to interview. So this was like, mate, I went for Oprah. I went for Ellen DeGeneres. I went for Emma Sale from Killing Kittens. I went for Toby Alexander from EastEnders, who at the time, he's only just finished this role, but at the time was heavily in the media with regards to playing a perpetrator. I had Nicole Jacobs, who's the Domestic Abuse Commissioner. I had Emma Hardcastle, MBE. I had Tessa Sanderson, who I interviewed. I had Dr. Ranj, if anyone knows Dr. Ranj. I interviewed Emma Kenny, TV psychologist Emma Kenny. I interviewed Jenny Powell, TV's Jenny Powell. I interviewed lots and lots of like famous people, business people, from varying different backgrounds and varying different cultures. However, it was the week, and the week before was the week of the whole of the Black Lives Matter movement in like sort of resurgence off of the back of George Floyd being murdered. So what happened was, I didn't really know what to do at the time. This is about being uncomfortable, by the way. If anybody's listening, I'm talking about curation of lineup to make sure you include diverse lineups if that is something that you want to do, and how very, very, very important it is. I can't stress this enough, because if you're only putting one type of person on your lineup, you are shouting into an echo chamber. And if you want to help people in the world, if you're shouting into an echo chamber, you're only going to help one type of person. You're also going to create too much exclusivity around what it is that you're doing, and you're going to be considered unsafe to other communities. So I really want you to consider this. It's very important to me, to me, and also to the community that I create and the speakers that I create as well. So this was in the direct aftermath. So George Floyd had been murdered, and there was a real sort of like sort of the whole Black Lives Matter movement grew. That was all happening in the week. There was like kind of protests taking place and what have you. And I was like, I don't know what to do, because I feel drawn to speaking about this, but also I have this whole thing that's set up that's going to help people, that's going to help people that have been experiencing domestic abuse right now when they need it. And although the media and the focus was on the Black Lives Matter movement, I still had this phenomenal charitable situation happening here. And I was like, do I still go for it? I'm like, well, yeah, because if I don't, how are these people going to be helped, right? And we raised over like sort of £20,000 by the end of it all for Women's Aid and for Gallup, which is the LGBTQ plus domestic abuse charities. And I did the chatathon. It was amazing. We raised all this money. It was fantastic. And actually, I received, it was only from one person, but it was enough to challenge myself. I received feedback, unsolicited feedback from a person of colour to say that I didn't have enough people of colour on my lineup. Now, looking back on it and on reflection, I still don't believe that to be true, but there was still more that I could have done. And even though, if I look at the lineup itself, there were members of the Black community, there were members of the South Asian community, there were members of the North Asian community, there were Jewish people, Muslims, I was trying to be like, let's get as many different people as possible. But for that point in time, I could have done even more. There was more that I could have done. And I sort of shared a live that's still up there to this day, really heartfelt live that, incensed some people where they feel like I'd done enough already. But because of the disparity in the world, I had to acknowledge that I hadn't done enough. I hadn't done a specific shout out. And also I had to absorb, it was necessary that I absorb this sort of righteous anger. And I didn't mean to roll my eyes there, but that's what it was. It was a righteous anger that members of the Black community that were feeling at the time, and still, right, and since. And it wasn't my job to be defensive. It wasn't my job right then as a good ally to be defensive. It was my job to absorb and say, I'm listening. And if I've failed, then I'm going to fail forward, right? So there's always more to be done. I wasn't trying to get it perfect. I was just trying to move towards more right than it was, right? So it was an uncomfortable watch. It was uncomfortable for people to see me hurting like that. And it's like, I really tried here, but, I got it not as right as I could have done. I didn't get it all the way wrong, but there's more that I could have done. There is more to do. And I make a commitment to myself and to the lineups that I curate and create, that I want to create diverse, platforms for people. So if, for example, people, when I open the doors to my programs, when I open the doors to my programs and say I don't get anybody who happens to be a person of colour that signs up, I know that come September, that's an all-white lineup, and that is completely unacceptable. So there'll be a couple of things that I will look at. One is potentially maybe sponsoring in or making it easier for people who want to work with me, who may be from different backgrounds, to help them to work with me. Or I will pay people to come and be on my lineup, because that's right and proper that we, pay people for their expertise if that's what they're going to do. So there's ways that I was trying to kind of create diversity on our panels to make things fair, to make things right, to make things representative. There's lots of things that we've got to do in order to fail forward. Why am I getting on my soapbox about this? And the reason is, there's two reasons. And as speakers, this might make me controversial, I don't give a shit, but there's two things we've got to consider as speakers. First, that if you are being an interviewer and you want to do something like this, or you want to interview people, you want to create an event, I really want you to consider your lineups. Please consider your lineups. Please consider who is on there. And you can't get full representation all of the time, but what you can do is keep mixing it up, keep seeking ways to create diversity on your lineups. Here's the thing, businesses that embrace this do better. And I don't just mean from a financial perspective, but they do better, right? If we look at diversity of boards, like directors' boards in the Fortune 500, the more diverse the board, the better the company does economically, from a retention point of view, from a staff engagement point of view, right? So we've got to consider this, all right? If you are a speaker, I'm saying this to everybody, and I say this out in public. If you are a speaker and you are on an all-white lineup, then I would challenge yourself to say to that event organizer, there's a real lack of diversity here. I think it's going to be to the detriment of you and this event. I will forego my place. And this is a hard thing to do. This is hard when you've been given a spot. I will forego my place into it and swap it out for somebody who is from a different background to give your audience a better experience. So I'm going to be a great addition to your lineup, but if I'm on an all straight white lineup of women, then I'm going to challenge that person to replace me with somebody else. And that is a difficult thing to do. It's a hard thing to do, but something to consider. So if you are being asked to speak in places, have a look. Do you want to align yourself with companies that aren't showing themselves to be diverse? You've got to be careful of these things. You've got to consider these things. If you are a curator of stuff, look at your lineups. So I know this morning you thought you was going to get some bumper material about being interviewed and interview tips, which I am going to give you. But the first thing that you need to think of, the first thing you need to look at is how much equality is happening in this thing that I'm about to step into. So this is a great thing that I'm getting involved with on the 3rd and 4th of August. It's called Ideas Fest. I have not been formally announced yet, but I'm going to be getting involved with them. They've got this incredible, beautiful, diverse lineup. I'm proud to be a part of it. I can't wait to shout out about it. But when aligning myself with these things, I've got to look at what are these lineups. That is what I really want you to consider. I had this just last week. I'm on a steering group. It was a whitewash, not anymore. Yeah, and it's important. It's important to get more voices heard so that we can give better experiences as producers, if you are producing interviews, or sitting on the spike when you are a speaker, to allow yourself to step back to make way for somebody else, because there will be more opportunities along the line. There will be, or create opportunities so you can create those stages. That's part of the work that I want to do as IATQB, that I want to instill in my speakers, is this consideration for themselves and their place on lineups. It's important. I can't say it any more than that. So I love you to bits, but please never ever wear that t-shirt if you come to where I live. It means something different. What does it mean? Does it mean that you trump a lot? So I am aware that the majority of my audience are straight white women who really want to do good in the world. And yes, let's do good, but be careful. Like, let's be careful about this, and let's consider all of those things. So, unapologetically sharing that with you this morning as we head on into what is going to be a really exciting evening tonight. As the doors open to all of my programs, I welcome people from lots of different backgrounds, lots of different cultures. Please do seek out opportunities to come and work with me, because I want to be able to lift you up. I want to be able to share you on the Show Up, Wise Up, Rise Up show. Huge shout out to anybody, people of color, members of the LGBTQ plus community, disabled people, anybody from either a global majority is not considered a global majority by a minority, or likewise, like, just come through. I want to see as many of you as possible come through. So we can embrace each other. One of the beautiful things about the last Be Inspired, and you'll see this evening, it's about taking up space. And the more of us that take up space, the better. The more of us that say the things that we really should be saying, the better. Because just like at Be Inspired, where we got gloriously uncomfortable together, and this week where we got gloriously uncomfortable together, the more uncomfortable that we get, the more room we get to grow. We have to be uncomfortable to grow. And it's so incredible when that happens. My life is richer for that experience where I got called out, rightly or wrongly. It doesn't matter whether it was right or wrong. It was necessary in order for us to grow as a community, in order for me to grow as a service provider. So when you are visible, sometimes you will get called out for things like that. All right, interviews. Let's talk about interviews. When you are the interviewer, being curious and asking questions is really important. So that if you are the interviewee, preparing your story beforehand really helps you be a great interviewee. And what do I mean by that? Often, when people are first starting out in PR and they're looking at podcasting, or they're looking at, coming on a show like this, for example, they might wing it. So they might say, oh, I've got this interview. And a lot of the nerves around being on things like radio or being interviewed for stuff comes from a lack of preparation. I don't know what they're going to ask me. I don't know what I'm going to say when they ask me stuff. And actually, by preparing beforehand, key things that you want to say, that you want to bring out into the world, and your story, key points of your story that you're going to share again and again in order to build your brand and your brand story, super important to have in the back of your pocket already. It helps you become a more compelling interviewee because you're saying something, not just the worst people that I interview are the people that just kind of gives me one word answers. And so did you find it really difficult when you X, Y, and Z? And they go, yeah, it was really difficult. And actually what the interviewer wants them to do is they're giving them space to embellish, right? So what I would consider that if you want to be on podcasts, and if you want to be on shows like this, if you want to have press, make sure you know already what points of your story serve your outcomes. So if you are being interviewed, then you've got to think, if I do this interview, what do I want that person's onward journey to be with me, either the interviewer or the audience? For the most part, I want you to think about the audience. If you are being interviewed, what do you want the outcomes to be? So everything that you say then has to inform that person to follow you on that journey, has to speak to the beginning, has to speak to the end all the time. Same when you're constructing talks, and I teach this within my programs. How does the beginning speak to the end? All right. So we want to take people on a journey, whether we're talking just us or whether we're being interviewed. So questions in interviews are often, why is it that you're doing what you're doing? How did you come to doing what you're doing? It's very rare that you get, and I've done thousands of interviews now, and they generally run the same format. So first of all, you want to check out what you're being interviewed for and find out what questions you're going to get asked, and not prepare them from a speech point of view, but think, if they ask me this, what will I say? And how do I bring that back to my requirements? So if I'm being interviewed in the run up to Be Inspired, you sure as shit know that I'm going to mention Be Inspired, right? If I'm being interviewed in the run up to the BE Heard Bootcamp, sure as shit, I'm going to be mentioning the BE Heard Bootcamp. If I have got like a big launch for the Flying Away Foundation, which is going to be happening, a formal in-person launch is going to be happening in the June, July time. We'll have a bit of a summer situation. Then sure as shit, that's what I'm going to be talking about. And for example, and I teach this on my programs, God, She's Good. Interestingly enough, the door's open to my programs tonight, right? So sure as shit, we are going to be mentioning those things and sowing them like beautiful, glittery seeds of awesomeness all the way through everything that we do. And the reason why I do what I do in such an obvious way is so that you can see it, so that you can do it, right? I want as many of you to be successful doing this as possible. So they are my tips for when you're being interviewed. One is to prepare the story of why it is that you do what you do, so that people can connect with you. Why do you care about what it is that you do? It's one of the very first questions that I ask as part of bootcamp. Why do you give a shit? Why do you care? And the next is, how does this interview serve you? So what things can you say that will allow you to speak to your ends as well as that of the people that you want to help? Because allowing for this allows you to grow and allows you to serve, and the two are not mutually exclusive. All right. Just because I'm mentioning that my programs are out tonight means that I get to help fuckloads of people. I'm so excited about that. And the people that work with me have a great time whilst they're working with me, and they have a great time afterwards, and we stay friends and we become family, and it's all of that sort of stuff. And they learn incredible stuff. And of course, that saves me and grows my business and does all of that stuff. Of course, why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it? And it's the same for you, for anybody that feels uncomfortable about doing these things, about sharing what it is that you do and then calling to action at the end. Call to action. Otherwise, you're not going to help the people that you want to help. And it's right and proper that your business grows at the same time. It's right and proper that that happens. Joe Wilson, you're so naughty. Danny's programs are phenomenal, even though I didn't do my homework. You actually did do your homework, madam. You did. And you show up like you pretend like you're the naughty one, and you're not. You always do your homework. The dog ate your homework. Fanny ate her own work. And on the BE Heard Pro, you get a one-to-one with Danny, and that alone is life-changing. Oh, thank you. Or do what I do and just torture her for an hour. Yeah, sometimes she does that. But I love you for it. So they are some tips for when you are being interviewed and when you are the interviewee. So one is, be aware of the diversity of your lineups. It's really important. If you don't attract the right people in, pay the people that you want to share, right? Create that. It's not even equality, it's equity, right? So lots of people will be willing to speak for free. Pay for the people that you want, right? So that's the one thing. Next, being interviewed, have in mind the reason why you do things, and then have in mind how you want to, like, what do you want to get at? It's the same with meetings. I've said this to Zoe will attest to this, Zoe Bryn. When you go into any kind of meeting, you're not going in supplication. You're not just there to be sold to, or you're not just there for somebody to get something from you. It needs to serve you as well. Everything that you need to do, speaking needs to serve you. Your marketing needs to serve you. We're not just in servitude to our potential clients. It's both ways, right? Otherwise, you're going to run out of energy. You're going to burn the fuck out. And I don't want that for any of you, because you're going to be going, giving, not getting anything. Fuck that. Fuck that. We've got to do well out of this, all of us, from a health point of view, from a financial point of view. You know, if we look at the phrase, I am the queen bee or the king bee or the sovereign bee, however you identify, that's a reclamation statement to health, wealth, success, and all the good things in life. Health, wealth, success, and all the good things in life. Now, we do that by being together, by locking arms, by linking arms, by raising each other up. But it's okay to welcome those things in. Yeah, it's okay to welcome those things in. Don't think it's cynical. It's not cynical. It's just marketing. It's just marketing. And you have businesses that you can help people with. You have businesses. Some of you have businesses that are going to change people's lives. Like Hides, I'm looking at you. Zoe, I'm looking at you. Joe Wilson, I'm looking at you. You change people's lives through helping people understand their dogs, right? Helen, you change people's lives. Lorraine, Lexi, my God, I'm anyone else excited for Lexi Tate, by the way? Our youngest ever participant in the BE Heard Bootcamp with a beautiful mum, Lorraine, has been turning up, has been absolutely turning up, and it's been beautiful. So yeah, the two aren't mutually exclusive. We can serve and also be served. We help each other. We all do well when we all do well. All right. So hopefully that's been helpful this morning. Hopefully it's giving you some food for thought as we move into the final stretch for those that are boot campers. Consider this. Don't be frightened of those calls to action. Think about how you're serving and also how you can be served by the things that you put yourself forward from. She's here going, that's me. That's right. That's you, Lexi. You're properly famous in these corners of the internet, my angel. We are on the final stretch. Please don't jump on yourself on the final hurdle, boot campers. You've got till 7 p.m. tonight to be in with a chance of winning those prizes. If you are not a part of boot camp, fret not. Who's joining me tonight at 7:30 as we share the world premiere of my proudest piece of work to date, which is the BEE inspired IATQB promo video. It's beautiful. It made me do a cry. It really captures the fun and community that we create and the power of what it is that we create as well. I cannot wait to share that with all of you. I can't wait to share my top 10 tips for having the X factor when you're speaking about your business tonight. So not only you can come and see that premiere, you can also come and learn some really cool things tonight that's going to really, really help you get in front of your business from like a charisma point of view, I guess, which is really, really helpful. I think one of the things that people come to me often with is, I'm a bit boring. I'm going to teach you how not to be boring tonight. And not being boring doesn't mean being silly. So more on that this evening. And also the doors are going to fly open to everybody for the BE Heard program and also for the BE Inspired Mastermind. Very excited to share all of that with you tonight. Can't wait to see you. In the meantime, enjoy Good Friday. Make it a great Friday. If you've got the day off today, you lucky sods. I will see you all tonight at 7:30. Take care.